So there's been something that's been kind of eating at me, and I've looked for guidance from the Bible, and I've just prayed about it, and it I can only come to one conclusion. The idea that a lot of people have out there because of their dealings with quote unquote Christians is the fact that Christians are hypocrites. And I can honestly say I don't blame them for feeling that way. Because what you see on the internet and what you see in the news and what you see everywhere and hear about is not people lending a hand to other people or helping people up, trying to show the world a through their actions, this is what a person like that is trying to have a heart like Christ does. What you see is people standing on the steps of a courthouse or using Facebook or Twitter or whatever as a platform to basically just point out everybody else's wrongdoings and how they're evil and how they go against God. And it really, there was a time, because I didn't really understand, I didn't understand what was in this book, that I thought, wow, that's brave of them to stand up in faith and risk ridicule and mockery, by pointing out what other people are doing and that it's wrong, and bringing attention to the fact that it's wrong or whatever. But the more I learned and the closer I got to God, the more I realized just how far off these people are. It's amazing. I mean, and I know that somewhere in their heart of hearts, they know that maybe they're missing the mark, but they feel like they're doing the right thing, like they're doing God's work. And I think they're just missing the point. And it is not our place. It's not my place. It's not anybody's place to judge somebody else for their actions, to judge somebody else for their lifestyle. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not saying you have to support it, agree with it, whatever. That's your business. But it's not my place to look at somebody and tell them what they're doing is wrong. Because guess what? It's not my place to judge somebody because their sin is different than my sin. It's just, there are so many Bible verses that you point to that talk about how judgment is not for us. It's not our place to judge. It's not our place to judge other people. I mean, let's just start with the words written in red. John 3:17, John 8:1-8, Luke 6:31-36, Matthew 7:1-5, Luke 6:37-42, and even in John 12:46-47, Jesus himself says that he did not come here to judge the world, but to save the world. Judgment is for God and God alone. It is not for us to tell people that what they're doing is wrong, because we are doing the same things. A sin is a sin is a sin is a sin. It doesn't matter. There are not degrees of seriousness. If you sin, it's the same black mark against you as anybody else. Our job, in my opinion, is not to bring judgment and not to point out what other people are doing wrong, but is to provide them with the gospel, to provide them with the good news, to provide them with the information, to plant that seed that Jesus Christ came to earth, lived a perfect life. He did it. He lived a perfect life. He took our sin, He took our sin upon himself, and he became sin so that God's wrath could be thrust upon him, and he could take that punishment for us. And they killed him. But he rose again. He rose again. 3 days later, he rose again. And he defeated the grave for us, for each and every single person that has ever walked this earth. He did it for us. And that's the news that we're supposed to share. That's what we're supposed to do to these people, to restore them gently, to remind them of what Jesus did, or tell them for the first time what Jesus did. It is not our place to scream at the top of our lungs on how evil somebody else is. And those are the people that make all Christians look like hypocrites. And anybody that stands up and pretends to be better than somebody else and judge somebody else because their sin is different, you are a hypocrite, period. You cannot call somebody else a sinner when each and every single one of us is a sinner. My sin is different than your sin, and so on and so forth. I would never judge you for what you have done or what you are doing. It's not my place to do that, but it is my place to tell you that Jesus Christ died for your sins just like he died for mine. Mine are different, yours are different, but in the eyes of Jesus, we are forgiven as long as we ask for that forgiveness. If we ask for that forgiveness and turn from our sin and turn towards Jesus and turn towards God and accept Jesus Christ into our hearts and into our lives as our Savior, if we believe that and we know that, that's the news that we're supposed to share. I'm not supposed to stand here and say, you can't do this because this book says you can't do it. That's not my place. I read this book so that I am better prepared to share that news with somebody else. I would never to judge somebody else in that way, to think that you can stand there or type or do a video or do an interview on TV and stand there and look across at somebody or look at the camera and say, that person is evil, that person's going to hell. And that you're saying that's your decision. You have tried to make yourself equal to God. And you are the ones that are making it so hard for people that are maybe on the fence to say, why would I want to go towards God if this is the type of people that are with God? And the problem is you never see the people that are helping the needy and welcoming to all people. You just don't see it. And what I don't understand is not only the leaders of these groups or these people that are, I don't know what's worse, the people that are out there screaming at the top of their lungs that this whole other group of people are going to hell, like it's their choice, their decision that these people don't get into heaven or are going to hell. I don't know what's worse, those people or the people that follow these people blindly. And the fact is as the church, as Christ's church, we are supposed to welcome in everybody, because how can we share the gospel with these people if we ridicule them, if we judge them, if we push them away as if they're lesser than us? Because I don't know about you, but where I was when Christ pulled me out of the darkness is was a disgusting place. It was a disgusting, despicable place. That's where I was. I wasn't in an ivory tower. I wasn't making $1 million a year. I wasn't a professional athlete. I was in a dark place, and he pulled me out of that. And I'm no better than anybody else. I am no better than anybody else. The only thing different about me compared to maybe some other people is that I've heard the news. The seed was planted and it grew. That's the only thing that is different about me. I still sin just like you sin. You're not better than any of these people. You're not better than any of these people. But when you come out here and you judge these people and you tell them they're evil and you tell them they're going to hell and you fight court battles, in that regard, you use the court, you use our justice system, our judicial system to perpetrate these witch trials, basically, because you think that you got it all figured out. And you think you've been put in a position by God to judge these people, and you haven't. If God's own Son didn't come here to judge people, but to save people, what makes you think that your position here is to judge people? Our position here is to spread His word to all corners of the earth, so that all might be saved, all might hear His name and be saved.